Five Live. Sunday afternoon is Forest against Manchester City. Delighted to say that Noel Gallagher's rejoined us on Premier League Kickoff. Noel, welcome back to the programme. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. So Pep Guardiola said that if City win the FA Cup, it would minimise the damage of a disappointing season. Do you, as fans, see it that way as well?
No, I'd say if we win the cup, it would be astonishing from where we were in October when we couldn't win a game, when we lost 8 in a row or something. If you was to say then, will you take the FA Cup in 5th? You'd be like, absolutely. We were dreadful. So to come this far it's no bad thing. But you know, Pep's a perfectionist, and he's on a different level to the rest of us. So he won't be happy. But there you go.
He also said today in his press conference, it was fascinating. He said, we'll be better next season because we've learned so much this year. What do you think when he sits back and analyses it in the summer? What do you think some of those things are going to be that he kind of looks at and says, right, we've got to be better there, we've got to be better there? And what do you think the players will have taken from this season as well? Because it's been an out-of-character season for them with some extenuating circumstances thrown in.
I'm not sure he was talking about the players. He's probably talking about himself and his backroom staff. Because this season ran away from us, and there wasn't. I know we made a couple of signings in January, but it did kind of run away from us. It was over by Christmas, and the players. I'm not sure. You know, we've had a lot. Okay, we've had a lot of injuries. We know that, and Phil and Jack have gone missing, and Kev and Gundo and Silva and John Stones are all coming to the end. It's difficult to say because there's nothing fundamentally wrong other than the sense that half a dozen players have fallen off a cliff at the same time. You know, and you know, I've said this to you a couple of times. Possibly Pep was a bit too loyal to everybody after they'd won the treble, and maybe that was the time to strengthen. But you know, that team was great up until we played Tottenham away in the League Cup, and then it all just went pear-shaped for a few months.
Noel, do you get the sense, because I do, because Guardiola's the best, right? And he's been so good for football in terms of the way every single team across Europe, the big sides, the majority of them, all copy Guardiola's style. So he's innovated the game. I get to the point now where I think, because everyone's doing the same thing as what City are doing, they're more or less copied what Guardiola's doing. The games now for Man City turn into a little bit of a flip of the coin because everyone's employing the same tactics. So I think what you said at the start there, when you said he wasn't looking at the players, he was maybe looking at himself. Do you get the sense that he might be looking at his own tactics for next season to try and come up with another plan, something different?
Yeah, I think football is changing. I think the for want of a better term, the tick-tacker stuff, I think that's on the way out. I think the way it's going, from what I can see anyway, is teams like to keep the ball to a certain point and then they go direct. You know, I think we might see a change of style at City next season where they're hitting Haaland earlier, you know, and maybe slightly more of a counter-attacking style. I mean, you know, who are we to tell that guy, you know, Pep, anything? You know what I mean? It's like I've second-guessed him 1,000 times and been made to look a fool down the pub constantly. But I think football is changing. I think you look at teams like Villa, Newcastle, Forest. Even they don't mind not having the ball, but when they do get it, my God, you know, 30 seconds later it's in the back of the net. You know, it's quick transitional football, and but it does feel like the game is changing slightly, and you know, Pep's he's not wedded. People think he's wedded to a system, you know, and he's you know, live and die by it. He's wedded to winning.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever way he'll find to win, he will go after it.
Yeah. Nigel wants to come in, but I've got to make the point that when you're on the programme here, you can't say Forest even. You've got to put Forest in the same bracket now as everybody else. I can't have a Forest even on a Friday before we play your lot.
No, Fletch, come on. This season, right, you've been amazing, right? Cool, right. Well, we'll have this discussion next season, shall we? At this time next season.
No, let's leave it. Let's.
Or have it on Sunday night when Man City win 4-0.
Well, that game is a 50-50 game. It's a toss of a coin because Forest, every time you think they're going to fall off, they pull out another performance. So it's going to be that is a tough game. I think whoever wins that game will win the cup, though.
Oh, you said now you're talking. Now you're talking. I'll take that.
I do.
I'll
I think
that.
so.
It's probably the one game, Fletch. It's probably the one game to City that they wouldn't want in terms of stylistically.
Yeah.
Because
True. We, as City fans, who were like Villa, Palace, but Forest is like, they've kind of had our number, but they played us brilliantly at their place recently, but I think it's a 50-50 game.
Go on, Nigel.
No, just looking forward to next season. Obviously, I know you're a big City fan. From what you've seen this season so far, do you feel that they're going to be able to switch it and get it right and be to the high level and standards that we've seen in the past next season?
Well, it all depends on who they buy in the summer, but I think it might take a couple of windows. I don't think. Mind you saying that? Pepper's told me once before that this first season when we just got Champions League football and just the week before the next season kicked off, he said to me, "We're going to win the league," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever," And we won it, but it was the 100-point season, so he'll know. If I know, I'll tell you.
Yeah, make sure you do. Hey, so Kevin De Bruyne, is it right that they're not going to give him another year? Do you think
Yes.
that's the right decision from the club?
I do. I think it's right for everybody. It's time to go. Not that he's a burden or he's not great. He's still great, but I'd like him to go out. If he can get us to the cup final and captain the team and lead them out and win the cup, that's it. That is it. There's no point. He should go and try something else. He's done his 10 years. He's been amazing. He's been one of the best players, not only for City fans, for every other football fan would. He's the one player that doesn't polarise opinion. I have never met a football fan on a train going up and down to Manchester or wherever that doesn't think he's one of the top 5 midfielders they've ever seen. So, but I think it's time because we need to rebuild. He's won everything. He's done everything. He's done it all. He's going to get a statue. It's kind of, I wouldn't like to see him stay another year because I think it's time now. Everybody's ready. Do you know what I mean?
Would his legacy change? Sorry, Fletch. Would his legacy change? Go on, Fletch.
Yeah, just on that point, because there's going to be statues everywhere the way it's going, because they're putting lots up based on this group that have been together during this successful period. Where is he in that list? Because when I kind of never really thought about him as the best central midfield player in Premier League history. Then I sat down on a Friday with Don and the guys, and they were saying, yeah, but none of the ones that you're talking about could play as a number 10 as effectively as him. And then he can play as a number 8 as effectively as them. And then you think of everything he does in terms of range of passing, the goals he creates. You can make a strong case he's the best midfield player that we've had in the Premier League. So where is he on that City list, in that pantheon of great players that you've had recently?
So it's difficult because Aguero was amazing. He did that thing, he scored that goal. Vinny was amazing because he dragged us to our first trophy for 30 odd years. David Silva was one of the best players we've ever seen. He's there. He's in the room with those guys. I'd take it one step further and say he's in the room with the best of the Premier League guys. But he's done one thing that none of the others did, which was he had a season where he kept, every time he had a free kick, he'd roll it under the wall into the net. So he ushered in the draft excluder.
Very good. Of course he did. Yeah. Never thought about that, you see.
You were chatting, Fletch, weren't we? And I mentioned Dennis Bergkamp being, I think, my pick of the best number 10 in the Premier League. And I mentioned Gerrard being the best number 8. When you watch Kevin De Bruyne play, he's a bit of both at any given time. But I was just going to ask you, Noel, does his legacy change if he stays in England? If he goes to Villa or Newcastle?
No. If he if he goes to obviously if he goes to Man United or Liverpool, that'll change. But he would get clapped onto the pitch. No way he would ever get booed. Never.
No,
Never, not even jokingly. No. He's one of us, you know. I actually don't think he'll stay in England. I think America seems like the logical choice for him because it's a slower game and he would rip it up out there. So I think he'll go. I mean, there's been talk of San Diego for a while now, so it looks like he's probably heading out that way. But no, his legacy won't change. No, he's the king.
No, just a quick one from me. Obviously, with your emotional connection to the club, do you not feel the whole situation could have been handled better in the sense to give him, for what he's done at the club and the service that he's shown and what he's won, a better send-off than how it's been? Because it seems like he feels like it's a bitter taste in his mouth where the club took the option and not him.
Well, as far as I understand it, and I'm not claiming that, you know, I'm privy to any information here, he didn't ask to stay and the club didn't offer him a contract. So if he wanted to stay, he might have tried asking. And then, but if he'd asked to stay, he's not getting the 390 grand a week or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other here, isn't it? It's kind of like Man City are not going to pay him 350 grand to be a squad player when they can go and buy, you know, when they can free up that money to go and buy another midfielder and give him a long contract and hang their coat on some young guy that's going to come and move us forward. And by the same rule, Kev's, you know, is he going to take, 150 grand a week pay cut, you know, just to sit around? You know, it's kind of, we're not privy to this information. We don't know what's been said, you know. So from the outside looking in, I just feel it's time that we all moved on. You know what I mean? And
on your question there, Nige, I think it's a good thing because you saw at Goodison last week. He's getting clapped everywhere. Everywhere De Bruyne goes, home and away, he's getting clapped.
Yeah. I mean, his destiny now is...
From a player's perspective, Hutch, that you'd still be feeling a type of way. You know, players do have egos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know. You know, he's not. You know, he represents himself. He's not got an agent. You know, I'm sure he's got Pep's number. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he could have said, "Look, I fancy another year." So, I think, you know, look, it seems like it's going to end, and destiny is the cards have fallen in a sense that, you know, he can lift the FA Cup as captain in his last ever game for City. I mean, come on, who gets to go out like that?
Mm.
Yeah, it feels right, doesn't it? In that way, I just watched him play recently against Crystal Palace and pick the team up, put the team on his shoulders, win the game pretty much on his own, do things that were Kevin De Bruyne in his prime, and then got back in the car and thought, from a personal, selfish perspective, what a shame that we won't get to see that more often. But then when you put it the way that you have, that timing can be everything for a player that means that much to that club, that there is that perfect way to finish it off.
We were all saying it about Aguero. You know, how can Pep let this guy go? And, you know, the world, he's not going to die. The club's not going to fall apart. You know, it's like when I remember I'd been Sergio's last game and everyone was crying about what we're going to do without him and all that. And the next thing, we've won the treble and 4 in a row. It's like, come on, man, he's a footballer. You know, there are hundreds of them out there. Admittedly, not as good as him, but City will get it right. They'll get it right. I've no doubt about that. So
you must be, based on the fact that we're of a similar age, you must be a big FA Cup lover. I mean, I am. It was the best thing. What are your earliest memories of the FA Cup and your best memories of the FA Cup?
Earliest memories. Well, just it was the one live game that was on a year, you know, apart from the World Cup final, which was every 4 years, obviously. Earliest memories, I don't know. I do remember vividly Alan Sunderland scoring the winner against Man United in, was it 70-something?
79, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a great game. I think Arsenal won it 3-2, and the joy on his face. And obviously we come from a Man United loathing household, and we were buzzing that day. And then, you know, City losing it to Spurs.
Ricky Villa.
Yeah, no one talks about Steve McKenzie's goal, which was out of this world.
No, exactly. Yeah. Nobody talks about that goal.
Yeah. And, you know, us beating United in the semi-final and then winning the cup after 36 years or whatever it was. I like it, and I don't like the way they're messing around with it. You know, City are playing at the same time Liverpool are going to win the league, and it's kind of like they're messing around with it too much. But it's actually been a good year for the cup with Liverpool getting knocked out by Plymouth, and 3 of the 4 semi-finalists are not traditional big guns in the semis and the final. You know what I mean?
And you'll be there on Sunday.
I will not be there on Sunday, unfortunately, because months ago when City couldn't nick a win, I got invited to a wedding in Paris, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to that. So turns out I shall be at a wedding with the phone to my ear, listening to it on the radio.
Depends how close he or she is. I mean, you can always bin it.
Yeah.
No, he's a pretty intense dude. If you're going, you're going, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'll be sneaking off to listen to it for sure.
Good stuff. Well, listen, if Forest win, you'll hear from me. If City win, you won't. It's as simple as that, really.
Of course. Well, look. I mean, if we get knocked out, it'll be a very interesting final because it'll be Forest and Palace, or Villa, which they could be like a monumental games. You know what I mean? If City get to the final, it's going to be us passing the ball around in just inside someone else's half until somebody breaks away. So, while we don't need to win the FA Cup, we could do with ending the season with some kind of positivity. But like I say, the game was a tough one to call. Anybody but Forest would have suited us.
Yeah. So just to finish on this, so when you go to a wedding, then being the bastion of style and all this kind of thing, is it suited and booted, or is there more freedom for you to wear what you like?
No suit. The suit is for court appearances only. And the wedding attire is terrace chic.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Well, look, have a safe journey, enjoy the wedding, and I'll begrudgingly say good luck.
Well, hopefully I won't hear from you on Sunday, and then I'll we can still be friends.
Top man, thanks for coming on as always.
All right,
see you soon,
later, mate. Bye bye.
Thanks, mate. That's Noel Gallagher. Fantastic. And do you know what? Talk about he must make so many good decisions in his life, and then he's made a really bad one to not think City might get to the semi, and he's off to a wedding in Paris.
Imagine taking that call when you can't